Welcome to Table Goth. Tonight we are serving Heaven and Hedonism, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition game, part of what we're calling our Cult Chronicles. This is episode 2. Here at Table Goth, we share stories best left in the dark. We have discussed our boundaries. Safety tools are in place for the cast, but given the improvisational nature of the story, we cannot predict all content that will be explored. But you can expect violence, cults, manipulation, spiciness, and a group of players having absolutely no respect for their storyteller. So we've gathered to tell a dreadful tale. Please take care of yourself as you keep this in mind. Joining us at the table, once again, are Raven.
Hi. Hi. How are you going to just say something so casual like we don't respect you and then expect us not to respond in kind with absolutely?
I'm just saying that could be a trigger for some people. If I was a storyteller watching another storyteller getting bodied in a stream, I'd be like, oh no. But you know what? I'm here for it.
That says a lot. Anyway, hi, I'm Raven. My pronouns are they, she. I am playing Madame Riafine. Her pronouns are she, her. She is a Ventru through and through. Brothel owner. I don't want to say collector of things, but yes, she's kind of a collector of things. She also loves to see the beauty in things that others would deem broken. She's already made a couple of waves, and I'm sure she is going to continue to create more.
Interesting tidbit about her that will come into play. Chastity.
Hey, I'm Chastity. My pronouns are she, they. Tonight I'll be playing Thalia. Her pronouns are she, her. She is a Lasombra who has a problem controlling herself. Impulsive and a little bit of a rage issue, but she's made good friends with people who help to keep her in check. And she does a little side worship of a demon goddess.
I love the phrase side worship. That's what I'm going to refer to someone as. April.
Hello, I am April. I am playing Della, the Tremere. We are both she, her. Fun fact about Della, she's never done anything wrong in her life. The uses of power is totally okay in this establishment.
Okay, 2 truths and a lie with our intros. That's fun.
Oh my God, I don't know what else you want to say.
And I'm Bully, he, him. I am the storyteller. Now please, have a seat, mind your manners. Our table is set. The ritual begins now. Last time, Riafine, Thalia, and Della arrived at a mysterious island to meet with other selected individuals of Kindred Society of the United Kingdom to gather and celebrate and discuss a coup. Mithras, the self-proclaimed God King, currently rules this area. But that's going to change, or at least that's the plan. So we saw this ball this huge, elaborate place with this basilica-like structure somehow hidden on this island off the coast of the United Kingdom, or England. And we did our introductions. Riafine's introduction went quite well. They instantly made an impression on the gathered of high society here. Talia and Della's went different ways, but were interesting in their own respects. We also met some other people who've already become people of interest, like our good Duke Adrian Brimsley, a rival acquaintance of sorts with Riafine, who she already had a little interesting power dynamic conversations with. Talia spotted someone who carried themselves like an assassin, as Talia would know. Della decided to look not so much as a people, but at the surroundings, using her powers of Auspex to peer through what she realized were some illusions in place here. This building might not be all it seems. Even the lights seem to be coming from a supernatural presence. There's something going on here that we're just starting to scratch the surface of. Our introductions were had, conversations were made, everything was going great, and then we were invited to dance. The music instantly pulled out Thalia and Della into a dance with each other. Riafine was able to keep her shit together, though, and sort of assess something was off here, and made a point to talk to a woman named Phaedra, one of the hosts of this event. After an interesting conversation with them, sort of pushing the envelope a little bit, making some suggestions about feeding habits that were happening here, and sort of testing the waters, successfully, I would say. Eventually, our little coterie here was sort of even out and brought into the fold. Another conversation happened with Adrian, where an introduction happened, where we learned that 3 people are going to be chosen at this event to be the triumvirate, to be the leaders of this new order that will be taking over these domains. Riafine was very generously offered a position as not really one of the 3, but sort of the power behind the power to help out with one of them, which she made a point of refusing. Talia helped Della with a bit of a seance magic, looking in their crystal ball to see the future production. That's specifically for Mr. Harris Effington, very rich, affluent party type, who was extremely pleased with the performance and his reading, which was that he was bound for great success and things like that, which he took to meant that he'll be one of these rulers, a member of the Triumvirate. He was very happy to hear this. Everything was going great. Someone else did come in, a Giovanni, someone who actually talks to ghosts and does these things, and decided to try to confront Della, but Thalia and Riafine were able to convince this woman to chill for a little bit, at least. But and then Della had a premonition and saw everyone getting killed, and it was great. And before we could really discuss all these little things that everyone noticed, an angel appeared in the sort of balcony surrounding the upper level, my background, of this ball, this dining room, or this dance hall. This individual with robes and a porcelain mask stepped out. A Nosferatu was brought out. A woman covered in all sorts of weird growths that were like clusters of teeth all over their body. A divine light shone down upon them. They removed their own mask, which the Nosferatu was wearing, though the mask seemed to break and almost burn their face. But upon shattering and falling to the floor, this Nosferatu now looks quite beautiful. And I believe that's exactly the moment we ended things. As our 3 were beginning to gather to discuss what was going on, we've witnessed this event, and now the floor is ours again. So, jumping right into it, I will need from Della, if you could give me an Auspex plus Wits roll. It's a lot of dice for 2 successes. Nothing to see here. Everything is great. The floor is yours. Though, as you sort of have witnessed this, one of the immediate reactions from the crowd is you do see the Duke. You see Adrian Brimsley step towards this Nosferatu and extend his hand. Nosferatu looks up at him and hesitantly takes it. Her hand barely touches his before he whisks her, pulling her into a sort of a dance hold. And he looks up, and some of the musicians look at each other and start playing, and he immediately begins dancing with this individual, just completely seeming taken with her. Riafine, you do catch a look as he is looking right at her. He looks away for just a moment to sort of catch your eye before back to his dance partner. You can see Phaedra, who is just standing there, the one who brought the Nosferatu out, a pleased smile upon her face as she witnesses this. And then there's like a warmth. It feels like you're human again. Like one of those moments, one of the worst things about being a kindred, these little things you'll never have again. That feeling of lying in some soft grass, basking in the sun. You all feel this. It's a feeling of, it's a warmth. It's comforting. And you somehow know it's approval. You feel this warmth. That's the embodiment of approval from this angelic figure that is still sort of standing in their place, sort of in the precipice looking over. And then others begin to join in. People find partners. The mood turns very warm, bright. People begin to do their thing. But you don't feel compelled to do one thing, or you're very much up to your own devices right now.
Well, I see Adrian is up to his old hijinks again. I was starting to get worried that he would turn tail and run like a dog.
Little dog. In saying that, as I kind of look around the space, are the shadows still not properly where they should be because of that light?
Yeah, they still aren't reflecting as they should in the presence of a normal light.
Okay. I actually think that Thalia will look to see in the crowd her friend that she brought with her +1. Does she see Elizabeth anywhere?
The mortals that everyone's been asked to bring are not in this room at the moment.
Okay.
They're purposely were separated into a different room.
Okay, just double checking. Cool.
You know, at some point you will be asked to present them.
Okay. With that, something is definitely not right, and I don't trust it at all. Is there perhaps a room or a place we can go to talk? Much to discuss.
I look between Della and Thalia. And though I don't necessarily have a look of shock or disgust, you both would know that that's exactly where I am. Just based off my demeanor. Because while I normally have that proper posture, there's a part of me that's almost leaning forward, very delicately. And I'm looking around the room, and I nod. Yes, I do agree. Unfortunately, I think they're keeping eyes on us. And I look up to this angelic figure. It doesn't seem like conversation would be wise right now.
All right, then.
There are other places you could go. You were sort of ushered into this ballroom. The doors were closed, but the doors are open again.
Okay. I think I shall go for a little walk. Just to look around.
I
Such a
think
magnificent place. No.
I think that's wise.
Hmm.
I think my skills would be better on the floor for now. So I think, Della, if you are okay, I may take my leave and get close to a few people and see if they've seen anything that we did not get from this vantage.
That would be appropriate.
Della, if you'd like to join me, you can.
Yes, some air would be lovely.
Wonderful. And I'll actually offer my arm to her and, just very properly, as if we're going for a leisurely stroll.
And I say, wait, darlings. And then I pull out that small coin that Della gave us.
I just in and flash it, put it back in.
If we do find somebody that is interesting, do linger.
Yes, ma'am. And with that,
we go.
I kind of just tuck it back, and I'm standing on just above the staircase, kind of watching them leave and looking out at the room specifically to see if there is somebody who recognizes me that is trying to that seems welcome to the idea of my approach.
There are many people that would be honored to be approached by Riafine.
I mean, you're not wrong, but perfect.
Is there someone in particular you're looking for?
I don't know that I'm looking for somebody in particular yet. I do know that I would be interested in someone who maybe seems a little unsure of what just happened.
Okay. Okay, so while you do that, we'll follow Talia and Della. Where are you going exactly?
So, in my mind, I imagine there's probably several holes and such in which we can travel along. But I imagine there's also a courtyard. Places like this usually have a garden of some sort, right? And so I think I would do a leisurely stroll, just kind of. Oh, Adela would know that I am essentially checking perimeter, right? While making it look like we're just observing the place and,
And the whole time Della's like, oh, look at the architecture, look at the flowers, look at this, look at just making it more of a cover.
Eventually would like to make my way towards a garden, an open space that is, if I can, be outside.
Yeah, so you make your way outside. So the servants let you out without issue. Sort of go around this massive basilica building. But on one of the sides is this beautiful, very well-maintained garden. It's almost more like a sculpture park than a garden, though. There's many statues here, all very well done, predominantly of angels.
Do they have similitudes of old Roman statues, or are they of a different region?
Either one of you could give me intelligence academia. 3 successes. They're Roman, but Eastern Empire Rome, like Byzantine, Constantinople type. There's subtle hints to that, but it's a very particular style. You could tell by the craftsmanship and whatnot. It's definitely was made using older methods as well, like the classical, traditional way of sculpting.
As we walk through this like statue garden, I would be dictating this, not dictating, but also saying this to Thalia as we walk, kind of like, oh look, the old methods of blah 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 blah, where they use this tool and that tool, and
Can I get a wits awareness from each of you?
oh no.
I would also like to put up Oblivion Sight,
Okay.
if I may. I
You
believe
may.
that's a passive. I don't know if it requires a...
No rouse check necessary, as your eyes take on this sort of shadowy mist. You're now able to see perfectly out here in the darkness. And if there are any spirits around, you'd be able to observe them as well. Della with 2. Talia with 3. So, as you pause, looking around, confident that there's no one around within earshot, you do notice one odd thing stands out here. Once you do Oblivion Sight, and you can see better it's quite dark out here. You can see there's there's hedges, lots and lots of roses in particular. But nestled in sort of one of these little hedge bushes is a little glint of metal, which upon closer observation you see is like a little brass like wind-up bird toy, sort of just like tucked in as if it's like nesting in this bush.
Okay.
That's odd.
Incredibly odd.
I would pop on Sense the Unseen.
Does it look like almost like a child's toy?
Yes.
Made of brass?
Yeah, these things are not really mass produced yet. They're not incredibly rare, but they're like a typical kid's not going to have this. This would be a rich child's toy.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very well made. And Della, very magical. You almost have to blink for a second. This is almost like a flare of this energy. Actually, give me an intelligence occult.
So you said it's sitting it's in the hedge as if nesting there. Is there a little
Yes.
like nest?
Nope, it was just kind of placed there. 3 successes. So you in particular, the Tremere, your line comes from actual mages. They're called a lot of different things. Will workers. You don't have access to that power anymore. Being a vampire cuts you off from that sort of nexus of quintessence that mages are able to manipulate. But you still study it. You still know about it. And this is more similar to that. Like, this is not blood magic you are seeing. This is closer to magic, but also not quite. Almost like this is the closest blood magic has come to pure magic.
Would I get any kind of sense what the magic is supposed to do, or if it's like good or bad or anything like that, or just super magical?
I'll say keeping that roll. You have the sense that you can feel it more than anything. Not that you recognize the magic as much as feel it. Like, you feel like you're being watched. There's some sort of auspex. I mean, you have your artifact, you have your crystal ball. You're able to observe things when you're not there. This is a similar effect.
I'm going to turn just a little bit so my face is not facing the bird, and kind of under my breath whisper to Thalia that even the hedges here have eyes.
Fascinating. I'll kind of cover her hand with mine and continue to move forward through the garden, but I do lower my voice. It's definitely a trained move, something that Thalia was taught, where her voice does not carry. It is almost like dead weight when it comes to sound, just dropping next to your ear. And she says, I'm willing to bet there are little trinkets all over the establishment. Just in case.
Speaking of which, what did you do with the bird you had?
I don't think I would have moved it.
I never touched
Okay.
it.
I would have left it in that bush because from what you said, I feel like someone put that there for a reason. And I'm not going to start messing with someone else's stuff yet.
I will say with Sensi and Cena, now that you know what you're looking for, it's
I was looking
possible
for it.
you could get to a place where you don't sense any of these things. Like there's still places you can have a private conversation. That just was not one of them.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm going to start taking note of anywhere I feel this or of anything magic. And I think because we've established that Thalia and Della have gone out and done things like this before, if we pass near one, I would, because my hand's on your shoulder,
Mhm.
tap with my, like on the right side or left side of your arm
Mm,
whenever I see or sense one, just so you kind of
yeah,
an unspoken signal to you.
yeah, a nonverbal
Mhm.
direction. I think with that, almost in following the movements of her hand, we would turn in those directions as we explored the estate, until we find a space where there is none.
Mhm.
But Thalia is making mental note
Yeah.
every single time, which rooms, what space, which hedge, you know what I mean? You know, it is strange to me. All of us brought here under the same pretense. I understand the need for reconnaissance and understanding those you've invited. This all seems a little much, does it not?
It does, and there's so many things that don't add up.
Right.
Why is there illusion magic? Who is using this type of magic?
Mm.
We have not seen anyone who can do either.
It is strange as well. That little show they put on, Healing the Nosferatu. Healing, I say. I'm not quite sure that was true. I've never heard of such a thing.
Is it even possible? It shouldn't be.
Not that I know of.
To get rid of...
A curse, a bane of one's clan.
What does that do to the person underneath?
That is an excellent question.
Because weren't we given these curses for a reason?
Well, there is law, yes, things of ancient scrolls and pasts that tell us why each of us have gained the curse that we now have. It was strange, wasn't it? After she was healed, Adrian was almost lured to her.
Adrian would be lured to anything with a pretty face. That
You're
thinks
not wrong.
that could help him get power.
You're not wrong at all.
He is a sucker.
He is a dog. But that feeling afterwards, like a wave of, well, I haven't felt that way since I was human. Is that supposed to be our law? The bait that everyone takes to bow to this angel?
When we're here for an angel, we're here to determine who's going to be in charge next. Because it feels like with that kind of power, we won't get much of a choice.
I don't disagree. This is dangerous. And I don't
With
fucking buy it.
That is a great transition back inside, where things are not dangerous and everything is fine. And Riafine, as you're observing, watching, can I get a wits insight or an insight wits from you, please? 2. So this is the read you get on the individual who glides next to you. You recognize her as Vera Volgan. She is of Russian nobility. She's very fair skin. Even if you didn't know she was titled, you can sort of tell by the air about her. Though it's a bit different. She's has a rigid bone structure, but she's rather tall and athletically built for a noble, we'll say. She has a very reserved control about her, something that's practiced, but you can almost feel sort of that buzzing underneath, especially as you look over and she makes eye contact with you. There's an intensity in her gaze, despite the calmness in her that she's trying to convey. This is interesting, yes?
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's quite the event.
You have most likely been to more of these than I have. Is there anything in particular that strikes out as different to you than the usual affair your society likes to have?
I will say I'm not used to having angels here. That's new. But I suppose, given what's at stake, either way, there's eyes and ears all around us.
Yes. I have the feeling this angel has little birds of his own watching. I notice you seem to get along well with our hostess. From what I've heard of you, it would not be surprising if you're one of the 3 chosen. Is that something you desire?
What Kidron doesn't desire power, darling? Of course it is.
For my curiosity, what would you do differently? This island, under your control, what does that look like?
It looks like a society that is fair. A society which does not turn others away just because of old superstitions or biases.
This is most interesting. Others have progressive leanings such as this. It's not the first I've heard. But some take these biases as law.
Yes.
You think you're truly capable of looking past anything in this sense, in the name of this fairness you speak?
I will treat this like I treat my own business. I am good to you if you are good to me. Now that is a little loaded, but I can say I'm not easily bought, and that the company I keep should prove that if I find you loyal, there is nothing in this world that I would not do.
Most interesting. Speaking of your company, I do notice that you do seem more forgiving. You're able to look past most biases others have. You accept a usurper into your ranks. I'm sure you're aware that your other friend worships a witch. All of these things are welcome to you.
Of course they are. Life would be boring otherwise.
So you do not believe in mortal enemies of our kind of any sort?
I think that's a loaded question.
It is. Do you have a loaded answer?
Of course I do. I have answers for everything. I suppose it just depends on the one that you want. Are you wanting the truth, or do you want me to say what everybody else has been saying?
The truth would be nice. I very much will know if you're lying anyway.
Then if we are to have this conversation, I can trust you to have this vision as well, this dream.
It feels like our dream is aligned, but I'm interested to know just how far your dream goes. I'm trying to find the limit of your dream. I'm trying to find what someone can do that even you would find is not allowed in this fair society you speak of. You allow heretics, you allow usurpers. What about the mortals? What about the other things in the night? What about tell me, have you ever had an encounter with a lupine, or a werewolf?
Riafine just smirks and rubs her hands together. Now, Vera, was it?
Yeah.
We all have secrets. Yes. I am curious as to why you ask specifically about lupines. Have you done your research?
I lived my research. They are very much a problem where I come from. And one thing that a lot of people point to, why I was told I should come here, consort with the people who rule, your Mithras, is because he has handled your lupine problem. I'm wondering what your plan would be.
Obviously, if there's anything or anyone that is a problem in terms of allowing society to function, they will be judged on an individual basis and punished accordingly.
The most interesting answer.
I think it's important, Vera, for us to judge each other as we are. Because even though there are many people who may put on a front, and at this point I look down at Sir Adrian, there's not a single secret that always stays in the dark. It is why how I operate and how I live my life and how I would rule would all match up. I am who I am. I keep the company I keep because I want to. I am fair until my kindness is taken for granted. Rules will come and grow, and rules will be broken. I can work with that. But what I can't work with is people being treated differently based off of something they had no control over.
Quite the dream you have. Tell me, these other two, is this what you wish for your triumvirate? Or do you wish to rule with others and they continue to work for you?
I would leave that decision to them. It is not mine to make for them, but my dream does very much consist of them.
You've given me a lot to think about. Thank you for being honest with me. I know you will need to practice some things in secret among the rest, so let me do you this favor. And she puts a hand on your shoulder, if you allow, and just looks at you for a moment. And you can feel a tingle starting from where her hand is, creeping up your neck, down your arm, and slowly across your body. Almost like when you see a bug and then it feels like you have one on you, even though you don't. Like it's faint, like it's not, but it's there. That sensation sort of encompasses you for a moment and then fades. You have eyes on you. I'm sure some for obvious reasons, and others for nefarious reasons. And she looks over to the individual that you know is one of Adrian's men, one who has not stopped looking at you. That one seeks to catch you out of sorts. It will be much more difficult for him now.
I give a gentle nod. Vera, regardless of what happens, I do hope we can continue to work together in the future.
I'm counting on it. She'll curtsy respectfully and continue on. Back outside, is there anything else you needed to discuss before heading back in?
I did want to discuss with Della before we returned back. Della, your vision. You described our wonderful Toreador. His hands soaked in blood. Was he the one holding the weapon?
No. In the end, even he died.
I see.
Or was staked, at least.
Ah, so the method was staking. Interesting.
Fully, just to remember, it was pretty much everyone who got staked in that room, right? It was kind of like a bloodbath.
Yeah, there's some beheadings, plenty of stakings.
Okay. Yes, there were beheadings and stakings. Many.
Mm.
Almost
Any
as if
faces?
hunters had entered or not. I don't know.
Oh, I see. Any faces that matter to us?
I would go through and list whoever were pertinent. I think I'm trying to remember who you said last time. Adrian was one of them.
Pretty much everyone you've seen, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But not us. Right.
No, nothing would happen to you.
Of course not.
I
Never.
did not see anything happen to one of us, but heard everyone in the room.
Mm. Well, Tiffany. Of course, the concern, that girl, Grace. I don't quite remember her last name, but she seems new to the ranks, and I mean that even in the sense of high society. She comes from a family that has some notoriety, but she seems to be just on the edges. I know her kind. I am the same. And she's here to kill someone. I haven't quite determined who. Perhaps.
Do you think she'll actually go through with it?
Oh, well, that I'll have to have a conversation.
Because I feel like many people here are out to get somebody.
Yes, well. Perhaps we can do a little manipulation. And for flavor, you see Thalia almost as like playing with shadow. And she creates this image on the wall, on the outside wall with these shadows, of people being strung up by shadow. And there's like a little ghost of a smile on her face. She says, perhaps we can manipulate the situation and get her to take care of some things for us. Of course, I won't allow her to have all the fun, but it may prove important for us and our cause.
Do you think you could follow her without being noticed?
Oh, darling, that's what I do.
Silly
But I
to
think
ask.
for now, we should both re-enter. It would seem weird for me to depart and you enter alone,
Would you like to enter and then split? We can go to other ends of the room and
I think that'd be best.
blend in that way.
Yes,
We should fill in Reefing.
absolutely.
She
I
needs to
wonder
know
if
what's going on in there.
Yes, I wonder if she's found out anything. And with that, Thalia will lead Della back into the large hall.
As they're doing that, I want to approach Sir Adrian's man.
Okay.
And I'm going to do so with a smile.
Yes.
Yeah, you know this individual. You know a lot about Adrian, so you know he keeps a Malkavian with him. His name is Benjamin Moss. He is a stick of a man, quite tall, quite skinny, high hairline, kept kind of long in the back. Yeah, just always like a very serious look on his face. He's his watcher. You've barely heard him speak. He doesn't really speak much at all, but he's whatever information that he can't get, Adrian usually comes for you to get. But that's usually his guy who knows things, we'll say.
Okay.
But yeah, you approach him, and he's watching you the whole time. You can see his expression has changed from just that like focus, that intent look, to a hint of frustration as he's watching you approach.
Okay. I look and I smile. And I say, Benjamin, you and I have both been in this business long enough. I know the eyes you acquire when you're looking to kill somebody. And as I'm talking, I want to use subtle messages.
Oh. What are we going to do with subtle messages? For those who don't know, subtle messages is a power you can find in the player's guide that I made. But continue, please.
It says the vampire subtly changes the emotional state of their target. The victim does not realize they are being manipulated, but increasingly feels a certain emotion, and this can be directed at a specific person or scenario.
Okay. So what's our intention here?
I want him to start to feel panic. That Adrian may be replacing him.
Okay.
With the Nosferatu.
Oh, okay. So this is a rouse check. So at the bottom left should be the button for that. See if you get hungrier while using this power. You do not. 4 successes. Yeah. So as you're speaking to him, having a seemingly normal conversation, you don't need to necessarily pretend to have a pleasant one. I don't imagine you have many pleasant conversations with him. But what's important is it's a typical interaction with you. So he really doesn't notice the increasing paranoia that starts to creep into his mind. As what's unnerving about him is he can always win a staring contest. You've never seen him blink. And you see his eyes just do a slow blink and a glance over. The first time he's ever broke eye contact when talking to someone, to your knowledge, as it's just a barely perceptible quick glance at Adrian, who's whisking around this Nosferatu, before his eyes are locked back on you. Barely perceptible, but you noticed.
Benjamin, darling, are you okay? Tell me then. You seem a little shaken. How did you intend on killing me tonight? I do know you enjoy a good conversation about bloodletting and all that other fun stuff.
I don't do that. I like to watch while others do that. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Benjamin. And
What do you want?
I kind of like step back, but I'm giving him a way out if he chooses to take it.
Oh, absolutely. The paranoia is trying to creep in. He's uncomfortable. You don't make him feel better ever. So he's taking the exit that he's given.
Goodness. And I just kind of like feign clutch my pearls.
I think that this is where Thalia and Della will come up. But definitely Thalia will look to Benjamin. I think she'd be familiar enough just because they all run in the same circles. We'll kind of give him a brow raise. And I think Thalia just by nature often has the same intense gaze he does, especially when gazing at him. Like, oh, you're not going to blink? Neither am I, that type of thing. But when she sees this kind of barely perceptible panic on his face, she'll wink and keep going till she gets to Rhea. Oh, what was all that about?
While you're looking at him, your line of sight is interrupted as Grace steps in perfectly, locking eyes with you, takes a few steps towards you, and puts a hand out.
Della, I will meet with you and Rhea in a moment. I apparently have a dance partner.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I've noticed you staring at me multiple times throughout the evening. I assume you're too shy to dance, so I'm making this easy for you.
I've never been shy a moment in my life.
Have fun.
I'll take her hand and smile at Della before very much leading this dance, leading Grace onto the dance floor.
Yes, so she will. She immediately attempts to take the lead in the dance if you allow her.
No.
No. Okay. Let's do. We're having a dance battle roll?
How do we have a dance battle in VTM?
A dance battle in Regency era VTM.
Yes, yeah.
I kind of like this being You're bad at this, but that kind of makes it more fun. But also, no, you know what? This is sort of a battle of the mind and wits of who's sort of going to be the dominant position in this sort of social dance. I think this is intimidation, really. This is you sort of it's a social intimidation for sure. Yeah. Or it's an intimidation, but also you need to do so with your body.
Yes.
So let's make this a dex intimidation.
Delightful.
Yes, intimidate me with that body, mommy.
You hear that across the room?
You get a bonus for being friends with Rhea Fiend?
Thalia is built where she looks very much.
Can also blood surge.
I'm about to like a.
You get hungrier, but that will come into play after the roll.
Oh, I thought I got a success. I did not. Damn. Okay, that's fine. Oh wait, that would make me 4 hunger. Okay, hold on a second.
How did you get to 4 hunger already?
Because I fuck around and I'm finding out, you know?
Oh man, this is gonna be so much fun.
And that's a +1, right? So Thalia's
your blood surge is a +3.
Oh, then I need to re-roll that.
2 successes. You go and you try to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Continue with your description.
Oh yeah, no, just that Thalia is built very much like an hourglass, but there's something in the curves are almost an illusion. She is entirely made of muscle. You know what I mean? So it's through clothing that she can give this appearance of very soft silhouette, curves in all the right places type of thing, but she's just a brick fucking house. You know what I'm saying? She's just
built to kill. Yes.
Yeah.
So you go, sort of, you can feel her taking the lead and you sort of give the look and you go to sort of reverse the positions a little bit. And she just uses your momentum to continue. It's a quick couple steps before you're back firmly in the being led position of this stance. Without missing a beat, you see the barely perceptible smirk as she does so.
So, as if to show appreciation, gives a small smile and allows herself to be led. Because sometimes you have to give the illusion of submission. And so she
Don't
uh,
a choice.
you know, allows that to happen.
I would also like a composure resolve, please.
Gonna fucking eat this girl. Okay. Right. Composure resolve.
Mm-hmm. One success.
This girl.
Good to know. Okay.
Mhm.
You're dancing.
We're dancing. Yes.
She's looks at you, satisfied with herself for her little maneuver. Then her smirk goes from satisfaction to sort of playful, sort of curious, sort of, oh. She sees a familiar hunger that you don't do a very good job at keeping on the wraps. You just rouse the blood for this, and it shows. She knows the look of a hungry predator when she sees one. In fact, anyone in this room would. You're kind of an obvious threat just without these sort of scenarios. And she takes you a little closer to where someone closer to her and then closer to one of the servants has just handed a delicate silver blade to someone who's then cut the servant and began drinking, and that wave of blood hits you. Your fangs involuntarily out. Hungry.
In this moment, Thalia smiles at her, says, I am starving, but that doesn't quite do it for me. And as flavor, okay, Thalia's eyes are already pretty dark, but where regular people have that, the wet line of their eyes is kind of like a pinkish color, hers are black, and you can see just the beginning of the veins underneath the eyes start to grow. As she stares directly at Grace in the eyes, her pupils widening and blowing out till there is no of that dark brown.
She just looks at you with this. The dance never stopping. Everything else is sort of a blur as you're just honed in on this right now. And she does something. Normally, you prefer to feed from other kindred. But luckily when you're hungry, there's less of that enticement, right? Because kindred, there's not that throbbing vein. There's not that beating heart that you hear. There's not those things, unless they're like bleeding for some reason, that usually really pull you in. But then there is. You can see a warmth start to take in her skin. You can hear that her heartbeat and your heightened sense right now. She even sort of cranes her neck a little bit, and you can see as she's willing blood through her neck, enticing you with it.
If she'll allow, Thalia will, in a very smooth, almost imperceptible move, take the lead momentarily to dip her, cradling her, and allows for her lips to brush up against her neck where that vein is most visible, and the fangs are extended. Thalia, rather than just having the 2 fangs, has fangs also from underneath here, so she's got 4 in total. And her mouth opens, and it looks as if she's going to bite. She allows for the teeth to graze against the skin, and then her hand touches where Grace's hidden weapon is, which she saw earlier that night. And she presses it so that she feels the pressure of it. And she says, "We must hide our weapons better, darling." And rather than taking a bite, lifts her up and then pauses, allowing her to take the lead again, should she choose to.
Wow.
I have never been more turned on in my life.
That was a journey. I was here for all of it.
I just need
Bahari, baby. Praise Lilith. You know what I'm saying?
Mommy, step on me, please. Oh, God.
Yes, Ahia Lilitu. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, with this, no roll necessary there. She takes pause. For the first time, you can feel that she's not in complete control of the situation. But you're also not in complete control of the situation.
Not at
Honestly,
all.
your beast is the one in the most control of the situation.
We're playing with fire right now, for sure.
Yeah, and as you sort of bring her back up, she glances around. You could see a little flustered for a second, but starting to bring it back in. These things, sort of references to the two of you, usually only take place in very exclusive gatherings or events for kindred. Two individuals like ourselves being able to publicly enjoy each other's company like this.
Yes.
I imagine under new rule, perhaps we can embrace the beauty of these connections. I
think
often like doing things that are not allowed in what is considered polite society. Should we find out how polite these individuals are?
with that, Thalia will allow for her hand to slide down Grace's arm past the elbow, her fingertips brushing against her wrist until she grabs her hand. She kisses the knuckles and says, "Follow me," and begins to lead her towards Rhea and Della.
Give me a strength charisma here.
Okay. Can I get a +1 for gay?
I mean, I'm here for it.
And everyone's getting +1s.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that, because
I've
the
rolled.
way that Rhea enjoys drinking is actually from a glass, so is it plausible to say that she's got one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So while this is happening, like, and I'm watching this happen, like, I very quickly, like, give a little cut to the hand and, like, start, like, quietly, like, putting it in the glass.
Okay.
Thalia, she's going to start, to lead her, say, "I have someone that I think you should meet. I think you'll find that there are a few more people that are like us and have the same ideals."
Yes, that can be arranged. If you can keep it together and lead me there. Give me another composure resolve. Actually, just make this. I mean, it's the same thing for you because you haven't spent any, but this would be just a straight willpower roll, really. 2 successes, but at hunger 4 is almost enough. As she says, "If you can lead me there," as you look back on her, and that's when you see an open cut on her neck and some thick blood starting to drip down to her clavicle, and you have failed your willpower test to immediately attach yourself to that wound as you begin to drink. Riafine and Della very much see this. A lot of people see this. It is not polite to drink from other kindred, especially in a crowd like this. But she's here to find out just how polite this gathering is. As you watch, and you know Thalia's preference, as you see Thalia's beast more than Thalia, latch on to this woman who immediately takes a hand and isn't fighting back at all. If anything, is cradling Thalia's head, but looking over Thalia and catching eye contact with each of you for a moment. And that's where we're going to take our break, and we will be back very shortly. We gotta take a quick, hold myself off real quick. We'll be back in a second. Bye.
Bye.
We are back. Talia is gulping. Della and Riafine, among many others, are watching. As others start to sort of turn and notice, and there's sort of some shock at this sort of vulgar display in the middle, especially because not only were people weren't even drinking directly from the humans here, right? There's a polite little cut that's made, and with all this little silver knives and stuff, and here we have two kindred slathering each other's neck with blood and slurping it up. It seems to be impolite. Which Adrian is quick to point out as he says, "What is actually the meaning of this?" And and this is the first time he sort of stopped his dance, and others have sort of stopped. A lot of people are staring now. Talia, none of this is you're in your own world. None of this is even reaching you.
I go, "Oh, Adrian, come now, as if you didn't enjoy my neck not too long ago."
That was in a more civil. But this is. Can you control her, please?
I can, but we were told to enjoy ourselves.
But this is a little bit of muttering. A couple eyes glance towards Phaedra, who's watching the situation with interest.
Now, I'm like, at this point, I'm just starting to I don't want to say prophesize, but I am making sure that all eyes are pulling towards me. So I am going to use awe.
Pop a little awe? Absolutely. You pop awe. Adrian pops awe. And he says, "I'm all about enjoying myself, but I'm afraid this vulgar display is anything but." And at this point, let's do a little social combat. As you each have an audience, you each are sort of setting each other up. How social combat works in this game, it's going to be social rolls, and whoever loses is going to be taking hits through their willpower. So, like, your willpower health will be directly affected. So, what's your rebuttal here? What's your response? What sort of approach are you trying to take? Meaning,
I kind of laugh and I say, "Adrian, it is important as a potential leader to live without hypocrisy. How can you say anything about what is proper or improper when you yourself are not willing to follow the rules?"
Ooh, with this, since you're bringing rules into it, what's proper? Let's make this a charisma etiquette.
So as Athalia's feeding, she's not loud as she feeds. She's not. In fact, it's silent. Like you barely hear the slurping.
Do I get to add anything because I'm stunning?
You had 2 dice because you're stunning.
Thank you.
Thalia has an arm wrapped around this girl's waist, and her arms is strangely long enough to go completely around this girl's waist and like almost pin her to Thalia's body. And I think that almost in a practice movement that Thalia's always done, her opposite hand is on that weapon that is hidden in this woman's dress. As I'm covering it from getting snatched up, just so that's known.
I got 6 successes.
I also got. Oh no, you didn't.
No, I didn't. What
you got a critical.
Oh, I got a critical. So then, yeah.
So that 6 is an 8. Ooh, I thought we tied for a second.
Of course, come on, it's Adrian.
He's good at this. He's very good at this, but not as good as Riafine. Oh, he takes 2 willpower damage from that. Others just sort of look, and you hear some murmurings like, "What does she mean? Also breaking the rules?" And you could tell he's on his toes a little bit, where he wants to call you out, saying he hasn't broken any rules because he's not sure which instance you're talking about, but he also doesn't necessarily want you to make it public, whatever it is. But maybe he could refute it depending on what it is. And he Fine, but all I know is my people are conducting themselves properly around here, and that should be noted. And just sort of with a frustration and wind out of his sails, starts to try to.
I kind of just smirk and I say, Adrian, the only thing that is noted is that you can't hold your own. And then I kind of just clap my hands and I'm trying to like snap Thalia out of it. Thalia, darling, the show is over.
And that's when Thalia, you sort of hear in your ear, oh no, the show's just beginning. You reduce your hunger by 1.
Oh, delightful. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh. Okay, we're good now.
And please give me a wits awareness.
So it's better than
4 successes total.
Yeah.
Which is enough as you feel. What weapon do you keep on you?
So my weapons are very well hidden because they are curved blades. The handles would fit in, like this, and then the curves would come out this way.
So you feel barely perceptible, someone with a very soft touch starting to remove them from their sheath.
Is this someone, Grace?
Yes.
Again, keeping with the show. My hands release her, and I drag my hands down her arms to her wrists, and my nails are very long, cat claws almost, and I dig 2 of them into her wrists as like warning, don't take my fucking weapons, but I say out loud to her, come now, dear. If you'd like to continue putting on a show, I suggest you keep your hands to yourself.
So you whisper this sort of into her clavicle as the beast is still mostly in control here, still lapping up the last of this blood. You reduce your hunger by another 1, down to 2. As she does, you put your nails on her wrists. She removes them, licks her finger, rubs it across the wound as it is instantly almost like sewn shut.
With that, to recover in front of everyone, I stand up to my full height and my fingers just brush underneath her chin as if to nudge her head upward. And I just say, delicious. I turn to the crowd and say, have I offended anyone? Sorry, just couldn't help myself. I'll be better behaved next time. I'm Grace, and I will give an arm.
Actually, I need to go clean up privately for a moment. We'll be in touch. And she takes her leave.
Give a bow. I walk over to Riafine and Della. And I'm going to look at Adrian. Now, I don't know if this is a flavor thing or you'd like me to roll for this, but this is, I am trying to threaten him without words, in my glare, in my reputation that he is well aware of. And the stare itself says, you've been marked.
Give me manipulation, intimidation.
Right.
Can I maybe help with that? So
Yeah.
while this is happening, Della kind of would fade into the background.
Okay.
And I would have liked if I could have walked around the room.
Sure.
And kind of gotten a little bit hidden. Not hidden, but like not necessarily.
Blend in with the crowd.
Yes. Mostly behind what's his name? Jerk boy.
Adrian?
Which jerk boy?
Yes. Adrian. This might be really stupid. but while he was arguing with Riafine, and right as Thalia does this, I kind of want to help them by doing a little bit of Extinguished Verte and see if I can make him lose his shit.
Oh, it's that part of the show. Okay.
Is that a really bad idea?
I mean, only that it exposes you're using powers.
But he can only he has to have a line of sight on me.
Oh,
And if I'm behind him.
Got you.
Everyone will have a chance to see this, though. So it's
I read it as only the person I did it on could see it. If that's not true, I would not do that.
You can do well. So it's a role to. So yeah, the victim can see who. So you might be able to get it to where he wouldn't see that you did it to him, definitely. But you're still
see me do it.
casting magic. You're still doing a blood ritual.
But
But you still get your subterfuge roll. So it's still. I mean, if you're sneaky enough, no one will notice. There is a distraction going on. Specifically, Riafine used awe, so people are looking more at Riafine and Adrian. So it would come down to a roll. So it's up to you whether you want to risk it. It would be a wit subterfuge roll.
I think, as you decide, I think that Thalia would then say, after giving him that look, would say to him, Adrian, you should take better care of your people. And my eyes just very quickly move over to Benjamin, then back to Adrian. And in that small movement, I want to like make eye contact with Benjamin and then sort of like just turn my head to look at this new beautiful former Nosferatu. Say, darling, I'm so sorry. It's very rude of me taking all the attention. I never got your name.
While that's going on, Della, are you going to attempt this or not?
No, I'll let it stay. But I'll still be where I am.
It'll spook him anyway when he turns around.
Yeah.
Should I do the manipulation intimidation roll?
Yes, please.
And then while that's happening, like I'm still like looking down and seeing everything. I'm assuming because I'm
You're right there. Yeah.
So then
Talia sort of caught him. He was already trying to leave, and you sort of caught him and are saying this to him and his group. So yes, Riafine, go on.
So now that I have this like I don't know, champagne flute of my own blood, and I'm still like I still have awe.
Ooh, give me a rouse check, because you would have bled a rouse worth of blood into this glass.
Okay.
You raise your hunger by 1, please.
That's fine. And I have this glass and I say, well, this is awkward. You see, I had intended to give it to Thalia, but now I have a glass. And I want to look specifically at Phaedra. And I kind of like lift it and tilt my head. Almost like respectfully, right? But also like, I don't fucking play.
Respectfully, I don't fucking play.
Yeah, like, I don't play.
That's a shirt. Okay, so with this going on, Talia only getting a 1 on her intimidation. You say that the message was received. Benjamin doesn't even like. So you look at him when you say this. Benjamin hasn't stopped looking at Adrian. Benjamin didn't even notice you look at him. Though the Nosferatu seems very curious by you, and the Nosferatu is looking at you this entire time. Adrian seems more embarrassed, almost like too embarrassed to even bother getting like threatened right now. He's just trying to remove himself from the situation. As this is happening, all eyes on this situation. Riafine raises the glass, which is an interesting gesture too, because this was a discussion you had with Phaedra earlier, how she sees that as a bit vulgar. It's much more aesthetically pleasing to do the little cuts and the sip and then back again instead of carrying around these goblets of blood. But you also kind of made a very good point, and you've had her reconsider. So, I think this is sort of an attempt of you taking control of the situation. I'm going to make this leadership, actually, to sort of show you sort of pulling the crowd with your side and putting that social pressure on her. A leadership charisma, please. 3 successes. You could keep that. That's a normal success. If you want more, you can do a willpower reroll.
I'll do a willpower re-roll.
Giving you 4. Should put you just over, and that was the number I was looking for too. Where it's not like a rousing, like everyone like here type of thing, but quite a few people, especially those that matter, seem to sort of not in approval, and a few others seem to be sort of looking for glasses of their own. And Phaedra sort of looks. And are you offering her the glass?
I am, if she wants it.
She gently plucks the glass from you. Like a sommelier, twirls your blood in it, looks at it, and looks at you, and takes a sip.
I nod again respectfully.
Take a sip.
We're a beautiful host and a most entertaining evening.
A fine vintage.
Thank you.
And then she finishes the glass. Closes her eyes while she tastes it, just letting the blood in her mouth hold in her mouth for a moment. No, thank you. She returns the glass to you. Please, everyone. We are. Oh, go ahead.
I kind of just like take the glass and like give her the eyes.
Oh.
I nod and I will take my leave.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with this. Yeah, everyone, we are here for a celebration. Let's continue to celebrate. And very soon, it will be time to present the mortals. So please enjoy this last dance as we prepare. And she goes to talk to some of the other servants, stealing a glance at you as she goes, and then going to her work.
I just wave.
And Della behind you. You hear a
I will turn around to see what is making that sound.
It's none other than Lord Effington. I have been looking for you. I don't know where you ran off to, but
What can I do?
It's all become so clear to me.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
My audacious oracle, my feral teller of fortunes, my spectacular sorceress. I have been so bored with my own life thus far. I have so much at my disposal, as I'm sure you know. I needed that spark. I needed actual magic. No one else.
What would you?
I haven't gotten that far. That's why I need you. That's why I need you. And I don't need anything, but I need you. And isn't that wonderful? You see, none of these people, they all like me, of course. What's not to like? But no one has ever believed I was capable of more than what I was born with. And I was born with a lot. But you saw something in me with that ball of yours. And for the first time, I feel worthwhile. I feel like I will allow myself a bit of ambition.
I only saw what was already there inside of you this entire time. You have great potential if you only would just direct it towards the right way.
And that's what I need help with. Someone to... I wish to transform. If we're to transform this whole kingdom, why shouldn't I transform along with it?
That is very noble of you.
It is, and I am a noble.
Exactly. And what is your first transformation? What do you think we need more than anything?
Della, when I say this with utter joy, I have no idea, but I do hope you'll tell me. Please, can we have a dance? I'm sorry?
Do you know who helped me the most trying to find my direction?
No, do tell.
Have you met Madame Raffine?
Oh, yes, of course, everyone knows her.
But have you actually talked to her? Deeply talked?
I'm not sure I've had a deep conversation with anyone in quite some time. I didn't think they were capable of it, or myself even. But you're right, I'm deep.
Yes. Look at all the leaps and bounds you've made today. In the last hour since we've talked.
You're right.
There's so much potential in you.
There is, but there's still a part of me that just please. And he offers a hand. I want everyone to see us dancing together.
She will take his hand and start dancing with him.
Excellent. Will you give me a dexterity etiquette, please?
Oh God, I don't know if I have any of that.
Yellow.
Oh, I do. Etiquette, dexterity. 2.
That's a critical. That's 4.
4.
Ria Fatalia, you've never seen Della dance this well.
He gave me some lessons before we on the boat.
She is a perfectly coordinated debutante out there. And Harris is a very good dancer, one of the best. He's the life of the party after all. And she is perfectly keeping up with him, and he's delighted. He's beaming, he's smiling. Della's really holding her own. Quite a few people saw him lead her out and were like, oh, this should be good. And we're sort of waiting for Della to like trip over her weird like bony baubles and stuff like that. But she is a vision of grace out there. And there's some like disappointment by some of the people who are like, oh, that's boring. She's doing great. And some people that are like, oh yeah. And you even hear some people like, I knew she could dance. I was telling you she would be fine.
I think Thalia would like smile because she's like beaming with pride, and look and kind of leans over to Rhea Venus like, look at her go,
and I just kind of like do the clutch my pearls like proud mommy moment where I'm like, she really has grown, hasn't she?
So proud.
We're just your stepmoms beaming over
Just
here.
My 2 gay moms.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just wanted to make my 2 gay moms so happy. That's all I cared about. I've won this game now.
And
Amazing.
I offer Thalia my hand so we can dance.
I absolutely take it and go off with Madame Riafine.
Okay, so we have a sort of break in the tension for a little bit. As you two dance, Della, you dance with Lord Effington. Is there anything specific you want to accomplish in this final dance before it will be the gathering of the mortals?
While I'm dancing with the Lord, I'm going to be kind of asking questions like, so if you were in charge, who do you trust the most to go with you? Who do you think could help push you to the heights of your power?
Brimsley has already offered me a position as his triumvirate, and he's an obvious choice, I think. He already sort of has a hand in the ruling party, so it would be an easier transition that way. And I was hoping you would be the third. Of course, also he already had a third picked, but it should be you.
Why would you take someone else's handout? Why don't you decide 3?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm doing. Me, you, and him.
With you. He believes he's better than you. That's why he offered you a spot.
Oh, no, he told me he didn't think that at all.
And how many times has he said that to others?
I hadn't thought about that.
You've seen him do it.
Would you please give me a manipulation subterfuge as you try to toy with my poor Lord Effington?
Oh, God, I wasn't trying to. I seriously think this man has said that to everyone. He says that to all the strong vampire boys out there.
3 successes.
This poor golden retriever boy.
Right? Just pet him, put him on a leash.
But see, okay, it's Bully's golden retriever boy, so I don't know if this is an actual golden retriever boy, and this boy's gonna drain me in 10 seconds because it's a trap. I don't trust it.
There's a look of concern on his face. I suppose I've been naive. I mean, he says quite awful things behind a lot of people's back, but I just assumed I was excluded from that. I thought he liked me. I wonder how many others have been doing the same.
Maybe he's afraid of your potential and what you can do and what you can bring. Maybe you need to show him that you're better and can handle this all.
Maybe I do. But I don't know how to do that. But
You need not only magic and your great potential, but someone who is versed in dealing with talking to people. Someone who knows their way around politics and etiquette. And at that moment, I'm going to kind of try to swing him so he sees Riafine.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of pause for a moment as he looks, sees Riafine, and goes, "Actually, I have an idea." And he begins explaining to you why Riafine would be a great choice for this.
I figured that would happen. Oh, you're so right. That is a brilliant decision. You're destined for such great things.
I'm not afraid to admit it. I would not have come up with this idea if not for you.
Well, that's why we rolled together.
It
All
was
three
like
of us,
it
and help.
was like fate. I was thinking of, well, who do I pick? What do I do? And there she was. And if I wouldn't have seen her if I wasn't dancing with you. You always seem to know just where to be and what to do. And yeah, this continues on. Riafine and Talia, anything you two want to discuss during your last dance?
Yes, we are catching up.
Yes,
we are catching all the way up. So I am letting Thalia know about exactly what was said in detail with Adrian instead of just like the, little snippets that we were getting. What happened with Vera. And I'm also kind of commending her for losing control a little bit, because that was a really good way to shut things down. And now it looks like we're starting to really build on what we have. There is one more thing, and I forgot it. So I'd let Thalia talk.
So as you're saying all this, Thalia will say, I do find it always wise to keep a Malkavian close. Most see them as just broken things, but they're not. They just have different perspective. I think it's wise for us to use Vera as an ally. Perhaps she sees the same as us. And then this is where Thalia will download about Grace. And Grace is carrying a weapon, as she mentioned earlier. Her, the whole thing. She doesn't like following rules. She doesn't like, that whole thing. Just giving her the general status of that, and then saying, while Stella and I were out in the garden searching the place, there are quite literally little birds, toy birds, lit about, used as eyes and ears for whomever is hosting, the true host of this party.
Yes, Vera did tell me about those. In those exact terms, if I believe. Which is to be expected. It is why using your ability to sneak around is most useful, and I can distract.
Yeah.
With this, well, we'll say you catch her up on anything else that would have happened out there, and then the music fades. Phaedra gathers everyone's attention again. It is time for everyone, please, to present their mortals. There, of course, is no strict ruling on why you would have chosen who you have chosen, but your choice will say a lot about you. I think it's fair that all of us, as we know, to rule kindred society is also to rule the mortal society. There's a lot to be gleaned from this. Now please, gather your mortals. And you can see quite a large group of them have been let into the room to sort of mull about, looking around, and they sort of approach finding their partners that they came here with. And after a few moments of sort of connect with your people, letting them know whatever, the first, she's like, Riafine, if you would set the standard for us, please. Yes, and you can see everyone sort of gathered in a circle, and the expectation seems to be to bring your mortal out in front of everyone and introduce them.
So I will say that my mortal has not really left my side and is actually sitting at my feet.
Since he came in, okay.
Yes. Like he enthused. So what would be different, like just kind of going back, is like he was very enthusiastic about getting to Riafine. Like there is a really deep sense of love that they have for one another. So as soon as he found her, he, very properly like sat, knees, like ankles tucked underneath him, hands on his lap. So as the circle kind of gathers, I just kind of like run like a soft hand over Callum. He is 6'3". So even as I'm running like my hand over his face, he still comes up to just under my bust, if you will. Perfect. He has very dark chestnut skin and nearly black eyes. He keeps his hair short, but it is styled with a soft kind of like swoop and slick. He's got a small scar on his chin. He's got very full, beautiful lips. He is dressed very properly. And you can see even in like the suit and the ties and the vests, like there is a lot of muscle there. And so I run my hand over his cheek and he kind of just leans into me and I say, "This, my loves, this is Callum. Callum and I found each other shortly after I was rebirthed, if you will. He is loyal. He is fierce. He is protective. And he's not bad in bed." And I, like, as I say this, I'm expecting like short chuckles. And I kind of just like lean down and press like a gentle kiss to the top of his head. And I say, "Callum is my proudest. He is an extension of me in the mortal world. He is fiercely protective of those I am fiercely protective of. And I am happy to have bound him by blood."
Some murmurings, some nods, some interested looks. This whole time, even though like he is on display and it's quite a sight, all the people around him. Despite everything going on, Callum has not stopped looking at you this entire time.
I kind of
And
still just like I'm just very lovingly, like tenderly caressing his face. Like my nails are long as well, so I'm kind of like just tracing it without like threatening to like break skin, but not, which he may or may not enjoy.
okay,
Just
uh, just saying. Let's have a. This is kind of a. I think this is kind of a leadership thing you established.
is this okay? So yes,
Or
I'm
yeah,
going
what
to
do you want?
challenge and say etiquette because there is a very evident BDSM relationship between them. There's very like dom sub etiquette within their relationship.
There's a hierarchy established here, and you're showing good training.
Yes.
Someone who knows the rules. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Charisma etiquette works for me.
Okay.
Or etiquette charisma.
Do I still get my modifier?
Oh yeah, that was hot.
Always.
You gotta add it.
Always modifier. I got 3 crits.
So every pair of crits count. So it's only a normal critical, so it's only 8 successes, which
Only.
is ridiculous. Yes, there's a hushed reverence in the room as people see this relationship, this structure of kindred and mortal. Seems to be the perfect example. She asked you to set the standard, and you did. And Callum didn't even need to say a word, as he can feel the exact moment when he should walk off, and he does so. Sort of just crosses to the other side of the room with you to wait the next one. And this isn't necessarily a thing that needs like applause or anything, but you can just see on everyone's faces, particularly in Adrian's, the not even hiding sort of the seething going on right underneath his face from how well that went. He was really hoping you'd be the first and you'd stumble under the pressure, but you did not.
Of course I didn't.
We'll go through our potential triumvirate then. With that, let's follow up with Della.
Okay.
Who do you bring out?
Della, you would see a Korean man walk up to Della in a not super nice suit, but nice suit. Nothing too intimidating, something that would be like, oh, you can talk to me, come. And he has just a big smile, very welcoming, and a charming gentleman. And he just stands next to Della, just happy. He probably would have been chatting up all the other humans, just very good at talking to people. And when it's her turn, she'll kind of awkwardly put her hand out. This is Victor Croft. He is my friend and partner. He handles my affairs during the days. And just kind of stand there very awkwardly.
For you, because of the nature of the relationship with him, can I get a manipulation persuasion? Or no, subterfuge. Manipulation subterfuge, please. 4 successes. So he goes up. Yes, I am in the employ of Miss Della here. And as I'm sure if you've not had the opportunity yet to see her in action, you are really missing out. But he sort of looks around. Oh, you've already seen her. I can tell by the looks of it. You, and he points to Lord Effington. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, so why wouldn't I serve someone as talented, interesting, magical as this? Happy to be here and happy to serve where she entices all of you at the night. You, of course, need someone loyal to keep them coming in during the day as well. And I can promise you, mortal or otherwise, the combination of Della and Victor are sure to impress and find success. Thank you for your time. And he presents himself as like a good salesman. People realize like, oh yeah, well, okay, we really get this. That's definitely something
It's
that would.
like it's a weird. It's only Riafine and Talia have actually seen Della be completely confident, because she's a Tremere and she knows that she's kind of new and has to be careful. She's very reserved, especially around others. So it's I think weird for a lot of them to see Victor come up and just take over the spotlight.
Yeah.
But that is their relationship.
Yeah, they can see that. They can see how it works, and they can see how doing what you do is potentially dangerous, potentially masquerade breaching. But with someone like that to ooh and ah them, seems a lot much safer and lucrative endeavor. So it goes quite well. Leaving us to Talia.
Almost as if from the shadow, specifically from Thalia's shadow, steps out a beautiful androgynous woman. Thalia, Rhea, and Della know that Elizabeth DuPont is transgendered. This androgynous beauty has almost flaming red hair that is in coils these curls that, with the trick of the light, can almost look like snakes. The curls themselves go down to the middle of her back, and she is dressed in all black, but it is a combination of like silk and velvet lace, carefully chosen and put together to similar to Thalia, showing off curve, but in the way that differs is not showing too much skin, except for the lace at her arms, which show off these intricate tattoos. This is something very not proper in really any society of this time, but it is hard to deny how beautiful these tattoos are. Thalia holds a hand out and she says, Tumuminus. And it is a dead language. It's a language that likely no one here would understand, but for the audience is Sumerian for child, or specifically daughter. Elizabeth responds with Amma, and they step forward, and Thalia presents her and says, this is Elizabeth DuPont, a woman of incredible intelligence and wit, deadly beauty. And almost as if they share one brain, Elizabeth responds, and you can see, like the audience would be able to see, that Thalia has positioned herself so that her and Elizabeth both are standing, though in front of, next to Riafine and Della. So as Elizabeth says these next words, the imagery is this: I stand with women who wear serpents around their hips and paradise between their legs. And that is all she says. Thalia holds another hand so that it's taken. And Elizabeth gives a deep bow to the rest. And there's a sort of secretive, slightly sinister energy that emanates from both of them. And that's that.
What I want from you, let's hone in on that sinister energy. There's something here. There's something, like I said, secretive, and a secret is kind of a threat in a way too. There's something dangerous about the unknown, and there's a lot of inverted expectations and unknown with this mortal you've brought, and you've almost presented them like a mystery that you're daring them to try to figure out. Let's make this a manipulation intimidation. 3 successes. It's a full success. And that message comes across. Your mortal also not needing to speak, but simply gazing around. And you can tell by your movements. You're almost like synchronized movements of 2 individuals who have trained with each other, who know each other well, have perfect control of their bodies. Nothing more is really need to be said or displayed, as she confidently walks off as well. Kind of a hush, sort of, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of nervousness in the air from that.
Scarouse, this is the proper terminology.
There we go. Amazing. All 3 of you, I was waiting for someone to fuck that up, and none of you did, so good on you.
We know our humans.
And then more humans were introduced. We see Lord Effington almost is like bored with his. You could tell he's brought in like an actual celebrity, like a renowned singer, and whatnot. But she doesn't have magic, so he's already bored. Like, he doesn't care about her anymore. You could tell he was like probably like, oh, I brought someone good earlier, and now he's just sort of disenchanted with it, and he barely makes an effort. Everyone else is like, oh shit, that's so and so, blah blah. It's murmuring. He's like, blah blah blah. She's here because I'm rich, whatever kind of thing. But he sort of makes a point of, it's not the mortals I know that will show you my might, but it is the things I've seen and the things others see in me? And he kind of like takes the spotlight from her and makes a dramatic exit. We see Vera bring a clearly a soldier, like a hulk of an individual. It's not really the most impressive or another, but again, it's each thing says something about someone. She seems to be someone who thinks she needs protection and a very capable mortal at her side, in case things go wrong. Grace, similar to you, Thalia, brings clearly someone else trained in the art of killing, though not as mysterious, not as. Actually, can all of you give me an insight wits, please? Four for Madame Riafine, 2 for Thalia, 1 for Della. Riafine, the others are sort of a similar reaction to Thalia and her mortal. But you pick up, there's a difference. There's a difference in like the connection there. This person's well trained and like in step with them as well. But this person is ruled with fear and intimidation. There's just a slight difference. Like they're good, but this was like an animal that was trained with negative reinforcements rather than developing an actual bond. The results may be similar, but the relationship is much, much different.
I very like quietly lean back and I relay that to Thalia and Della.
Yeah. Actually, and with your number of successes, there's there's that, and this person not only seems a little nervous around Grace, but like in a room of vampires, you've seen the look when someone sort of is made aware of the world of darkness. When the masquerade's supposed to be Hepcat, so we know vampires break it constantly for special individuals. But you've seen the look of when someone's introduced to like, oh shit, this exists. And for a while, they're nervous, thinking like, wait, these people are vampires? This person still has that. This is not someone who's used to being around kindred.
I also relay that, because that's a lot of words.
Yeah. Margaret Giovanni comes in with someone that she introduces her by blood great-great-grandson. And you can see the resemblance there as well. The Giovanni keep it in the family. They usually ghoul and embrace from their own biological lines, which can get messy. And then Adrian brings out his mortal. You recognize immediately. Because you were told this was one of the girls that went missing. Now here she is Adrian's paramour of sorts. One of your good ones. One that shouldn't, definitely would not have just done this of her own accord. Adrian, you're not sure how Adrian got this person to betray you like this, but it must have been something good. Or he does have that power.
I sit there and I smirk the whole time. And now Thalia and Della would know the smirk as one of murderous intent.
Thalia, in response, will immediately put her hand on Riafine's shoulder and give just the lightest of squeezes and say, "We bide our time."
Della, on the other hand, will just say the word.
And I am deadpan staring. And the only thing that I do say is, we'll get her back.
But he does quite a good job of not only presenting this individual, not right saying, hey, I stole her from Riafine, but in so many words being like, isn't it interesting who the mortals will flock to when presented with their choice of leaders? And he's Adrian. He does a pretty good job at this presentation, but
I have to review something really quick.
no, you don't.
Do it. Do it.
Let me see something really
Della
quick.
has had her magic equivalent of finger on the trigger this whole.
I'm here for it. I'm here for
I
it.
want it. I just want to go. I'm sucking
Okay.
everyone's blood out of their bodies.
Let me see something here. I have been fucking up because I have dangerous reputation and I should have been adding +2 to my stuff.
Oh, it's your intimidations?
Yes, my intimidation. I should have been doing that. It's fine. Cool. So
You could do something, but I will say this is very much not an open discussion thing. No one's like said anything during this. You can. I'm not saying don't, but it'll be sort of breaking the decorum that's been happening so far.
So
So you can always wait till they step aside and do whatever you want to.
Yeah. I do have a question then, Est. When it comes to this particular girl, given where I reside, I know all of Riafine's people, all of her family, as we're wont to call it. Would I be able to know if he has managed to garner this woman to his side by fear or by vampiric means?
All of you can give me another insight wits if you'd like. But as far as like, there wouldn't have been any previous digging around, because as far as you knew, they were. I mean, this happens, right? Vampires play with mortals, and mortals often die as a result. And as far as you knew, her and some of the others didn't make it back from.
I guess what
5 from Riafine, 4 from Della.
Yeah. What I'm trying to determine, right, is because when she was within the brothel, I know that the workers there, they are loyal to Riafine because she provides them a safe place in a time when it's not safe. And so there's a deep loyalty there. I know that this woman would not betray Riafine willingly. So I'm trying to determine, okay, how was this forced upon her?
Yeah.
Threat or,
Yeah, do the insight roll. We'll see what you're able to glean by observing them. 4, 5. All of you know the signs of a mortal, especially that has had dominate use on them. You could tell because every so often there's like just sort of a far off blank look that every once in a while just sort of come to and look. But he's a venturer, he has presence as well. There's definitely a combination. If he has used his disciplines to create a loyal individual, you don't see, it's not consistent enough where you can tell with that she's not bound to him. The easiest thing to do would defeat his blood, and she's loyal and she'll do whatever. That's not the case, but there's a number of reasons why Kendra wouldn't do that. You can only ghoul so many people, and Venture tend to max out the amount of ghouls they can handle at all times. So it doesn't seem like he was willing to sort of trade one for this, but definitely a heavy use of the dominate and presence power, you'd imagine.
So this is a personal slight against Riafine then?
Oh yeah.
Got it. Cool.
This is a display of power. He doesn't need to treat his people well or whatever, because he doesn't have to. He's powerful enough to make them do whatever the hell he wants. But as this is the last to go on, you notice the angel's back. And how couldn't you notice? Now it feels like all of your attention sort of drawn again on this individual stepped out, and you realize, oh, they've been watching this whole time. You hope they enjoyed it. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's weird, but for a second you have the like, oh, I hope this was good for them. But then that's almost like a weird, maybe intrusive thought for a moment before you fade back to your normal wits. And Phaedra says, "Thank you, everyone. This was illuminating." And with that, there is a bit of a glow from the angel. Now, this is the proper part of the celebration. A real celebration, one where we can see how we all get along together. We encourage you all to explore whatever you wish, as we'll be watching to see how you enjoy yourselves among each other in mixed company, and then also the level of control you can maintain throughout such celebrations. So please, celebrate us, celebrate each other, sate your curiosity in whichever way you see fit. The children of the angel will be watching for many reasons. I leave you with this. I'll leave you for now. Pleasure and pain are experiences that enlighten us. They improve our understanding of the world. Both are important for empathy, and we intend to create a kingdom of empathy. But most importantly, a kingdom of beauty. Now, beauty is more than skin deep. There is no beauty in monstrous actions. She does a quick look around the room, a slight warning maybe. We hope to make the world reflect the beauty of our angel. She looks up to them. So again, I encourage everyone to not only explore the grounds, explore each other, but explore yourselves. Be not afraid to delve into a new experience, perhaps. So few of our kind exhibit the ability to change with the times, or allow ourselves to be malleable to the divine things life has to offer. So please, explore, enjoy. There's much and more to see and enjoy here and on the grounds themselves. We hope you find something that interests you. We will be taking these moments to observe and then perhaps speak more intimately to all of you. Now, and the angel begins to sing this melancholic, this sad song. And then the band starts to play, but it's like the opposite. It's sort of tintillating, grandiose, interesting sort of building of momentum song. That they should clash, but for some reason they go well together and create this weird sort of haunting but alluring atmosphere. You're not even sure when it happened, but there's almost no light in the room anymore. Whatever these false lights were coming from are now very, very dim. It's quite dark. You have to be quite close to someone to really even see who's near you. And that's when you all feel the swell of carnal energy sort of grip the ballroom as the music plays with it. It is soft, it's heavenly, it's tragic, but it doesn't distract this music from the lust that seems to sort of overtake so many here. But it's less that you feel inclined to do something more than you can like feel some of your inhibitions just carried away by this song. So you are yourselves, unlike originally where something about the music like compelled you to do something. But there's definitely a quite dramatic shift in the mood of the room as there's a lot of eyes being exchanged, a lot of hands being held, and a lot of people start pairing or grouping up. It's a little scary for the mortals because all of a sudden it seems to mostly just affect the kindred. As all of a sudden these hunters, these predators are looking for something, are hungry for something, and there's a room full of potential prey.
I think in the like that immediate sensation going over Thalia is one she is very familiar with naturally. And Phaedra mentioning pain and pleasure being passed to enlightenment sparks something in her head, and she lets out this little like sound, a little click. Not sure if it's annoyance or if it's appreciation, but she has that kind of visceral reaction and has that feeling I guess would almost double in her. Her spine would straighten out. Her eyes would get an almost feral look, while the rest of her face is very like stone face, and Elizabeth would immediately grab her forearm, almost as if to ground her. And she would look to Elizabeth and kind of bring her into her arms and almost cradle her. There's something in the way that she's holding her that is this like almost like the image of the Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus. You know what I mean? There's this kind of like sacred mother appearance to how they look together. And Thalia will say, "Tread carefully. Something is not right. And I'm not just talking the music. I don't trust these eyes."
Few things that happen that all of you would notice. One, Della, you in particular, you feel sort of a tug at your dress to get your attention. You turn and no one is there. But a ways away, you meet the gaze of Margaret Giovanni. She looks at you, that stern look on her face. She raises a finger and does this, and then she turns and begins to exit the ballroom, beckoning you to follow. Though at the same time, Riafine, you hear the heavy footsteps of Vera's mortal, masking Vera's footsteps. If you wish to put actions behind your words, please follow. And you see her heading outside. And there's a lot of other things going on. There's other people you could check in to see what their intentions are doing this. But those are the two people who would try to get this group's attention. What would you like to do?
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What language is the song that is being sung in?
It was
in a language that we know.
I think Della would know Latin. Yes.
Okay, then I don't have to do that. Cool. And I don't. Everything seems on the up and up from the song. Like nothing is.
It's a religious song. It is an old, like hymn, but sung in a strange way.
I think one of the things that would happen as soon as he started singing the song, as I think reflexively, she would use Decipher, which is one of my Auspex abilities, so I can read.
Also found in the player's guide.
And a really cool thing that I don't remember who wrote it.
So fool. Yes. What does Decipher do?
By reading the aura and intent of a message, I can understand any language or secret code. I would like to just try to figure out the intent of what the angel's doing.
Ooh, that's a really cool use of that, actually. I love that. Yeah, make a rouse check. And then it's intelligence aspects. 5. All right, now add your hunger. Yeah, there's, I mean, part of the intent is clear that there's something, obviously like alluring, something that makes people feel, you realize that there's that weird lust part of it, but it's mostly just removing inhibitions. But he's removing the inhibitions with almost a tragic sense of like, live now because something terrible could happen at any moment. And what's hidden about this, I'll give you this sort of secret, is this hymn is being sung by someone, like it's a biblical thing, but it's being sung with a familiarity, like it's a story of what happened to this person. This person has experienced a divine tragedy. And there's a great mourning of the loss of what could have been. And they wish they would have celebrated what they could have when they had the time. So you get the feeling that you've picked up on like tricks and things like that, little illusions and whatnot. But something about the authority and the power of this song, this angel individual is old. Quite old.
Interesting. Okay. If I have a chance, I would lean because Thalia, you're in between Riafine and I, so we're like kind of in a rotation.
Yeah, all of you are in a little cluster here. Yeah.
I would lean over and kind of tell you the condensed version. The angel is older than he looks, and the song sounds almost about them.
One of us, you think?
Do they look? From the lyrics, is it a vampiric thing or is it an angelic thing?
No, it's an angelic thing.
I don't believe so. Old angels not enjoying what they had when they had it.
Yes, but why sing about that at a time like this? Perhaps it is that your vision has more merit than we thought.
A warning, or maybe a chance for us to enjoy ourselves in the last seconds.
I don't intend to go down without a fight.
Della, what do you know of angels? Historically.
Storyteller, what do I know of angels?
Give me intelligence occult.
Intelligence occult. Is it a death cult?
Go ahead and add your specialty to this.
Oh God, I'm terrified of that now. That's a 1, right? 5.
5 successes.
I know angels.
With 5 successes, thinking of angels, angel worship, which is, usually, you worship a prophet or you worship God. People really worship angels themselves. The Catholics have saints. And you're trying to figure out, like, is this a kindred? Is this an angel? So you're thinking about the connections, kindred and angels. 2 possibilities come to mind. Oops.
Oh no. 2 possibilities combined and everything is destroyed now. We are dead.
Rocks fall, everybody dies.
I got too close to the sun.
Yeet. Should have named your character Icarus.
One involves the Sabbat, a group called the Cainite Heresy. The Sabbat worship Cain. They believe the antediluvians, the 3rd generation kindred, will rise and try to kill them all. So they're preparing to be the sword of Cain and to kill the antediluvians instead, to protect themselves and bring about Cain's coming. They believe kindred are angels. All kindred. They believe that kindred are angels and that earth is hell. That's why, like, fire kills you and things like that. They believe they're sort of like these divine, perfect predators. Because, in the Bible, angels were warriors and things like that. And they think that's where you come from. That kindred are cursed angels, not like just cursed people. There's another group, though. There's a group that worships the Archangel Michael. It's sort of a Toreador cult. They are very into like beauty and things like that. And you know your history a little bit. Michael and Samichi called the Dragon, and Adventure, whose name I'm forgetting right now. The 3 of them ruled what is now Istanbul, but was once Constantinople.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that cult's name?
The Children of the Angel, or the Nephilim.
Man, fuck that shit. I don't know that. I'm just saying that out of character. It's fine.
And is that all I know about them? Is that the last of it?
Yeah, that's the gist.
Okay.
It's like it's an old like a Toreador cult that worshipped Michael in particular and his bloodline. But yeah.
And to verify, just because April out of character, can't remember. You said the Toreador, right? There's
Yes,
Clan
Michael
of
was
the
believed to be a
Roses,
Toreador.
right?
Clan of Roses, like the roses in the garden.
Yeah. Cool. I'm not making
Constantinople
connections.
statues, yes.
Yeah, 3. They ruled as a triumvirate, 3 of them. That doesn't. I think.
So it wasn't 3 Toreador that ruled. Michael was.
No, but there were 3 people who ruled. The different groups that ruled over. I think you'll just hear. Also, this seems sadder, and it sounds like the Sabbat one would be.
Well, if
a happier song about murder and not a sad song about being betrayed.
Right. Well, if you were to like tell that to Della, I mean to Thalia.
I think Della would just lean over.
Antonius, that was the venture.
Nephilim. Does that ring a bell? Angel worship, Toreadors, 3 rulers.
Certainly has its connections to the events of tonight.
Mommy? Sorry.
I was like, did I say that out loud? I keep in my head. I've been saying that all night. But so with this information, 2 of you potentially being beckoned somewhere, but there also being a bevy of other options of individuals in here to interact with. What would you like to do?
I am going to quietly lean in, and I'm bringing Callum with me. And I'm going to say, I will be back. If I am not back in 10 minutes, find me or my body. And
You're going alone or going with just Callum?
Yeah, Callum. Yeah.
Several things. I think when Della explains origins and history, Thalia would be the one to confirm it's not Sabbat. She would know. And so she just, without saying too much, she knows they're being listened to. You know, she knows the deal, so she just says not them. And that's when the confirmation that it is children of the
children of Diplim.
Right. Well, let us keep our ears and eyes open.
Yes, where are Talia and Della going? Are you following your beckon, or is there something else you want to get up to?
Elizabeth is very well trained in several arts, and one of them being very similar, actually, to Riafine in dealing with people and being very clever. And so she goes around to get to know the other kindred about, with the direction from Thalia to keep an eye out on Adrian's mortal. Doesn't have to interact with them further than what they've already interacted previously, but just keep an eye out. Yes.
Sorry, I just thought of something. I didn't really mean to interrupt you. Our humans know the girl who was missing.
Yes.
Would they have had had an interaction with her in the mortal room, in the human room?
I imagine so, right? They were all kind of herded into one.
She did not speak to them.
Okay.
Understood.
Which would be unlikely. So that's just another, like, I'm assuming that retroactively we've had that conversation with our mortals.
Yeah. So we
Sorry,
would know.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just thought
No, that's a good thought.
Fine.
Area of info.
Yeah. So I mean, very much with that in mind, I think Elizabeth would already be keeping an eye out on that particular girl. And then Thalia says, I need you to do what you do best, darling. And I need as much information as possible. Don't disappoint me. The intention.
Wordless nod and goes to do just that.
Wonderful. And Thalia is going to actually, almost as if swaying to the music, reminiscent of snakes when they're charmed by music, right? Her body sways in that same fashion. But she is making her way out and away from people in order to delve into shadow. She is going to do what she does best.
Slink into the shadows. Okay. Della, what are you doing?
I'm doing the stupid thing and following my beckon.
Okay.
But before I go, I think I would leave Victor in the room with everyone, just so he could see what's going on. And that might be too much. I don't know if I can do that. One of the things I have, so we talked about I would have prepped a bunch of stuff before we left.
Mm-hmm.
One of which was the coins. Another one I was wondering if you will allow me to have pre-prepped was blood homunculus.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. Now
Found a Vampire
that
Player's Guide. Sorry.
Huh?
Nothing. Go.
What'd you say?
Said found in the Vampire Player's Guide. Yes, you have
guide. Blood homunculus is I mix the blood with ingredients and I make a little blood creature, tiny little blob. My blood flubber.
Hate that.
It lasts the entire night or a single night.
Yeah, what do you want to do with it?
I want it to be with Victor. So kind of just like almost like he stepped in something.
That's gross. Okay.
I want it to be kind of like
conspicuous.
Yeah, that's the word that I can't say. Like that, but able to kind of report to me if needed.
Okay.
Because it only works within 100 yards.
Okay, you go off, staying just barely on her trail as she leads you into was clearly a large, at the moment empty library. She seems to be waiting expectantly, sort of in the middle of the room as you go down a hall across a corner, double doors opened, and you see her just sort of looking around, waiting.
You wanted a word with me?
Yes, I would like a word with you, and, well, so would they. The door closes. Things begin to move. You blink, assuming flashing your sense the unseen, to see that there are wraiths in this room. Thalia, you get ready to step into the shadows. And as you start to slink, you recognize someone here. You recognize them because it was the most recent person that you know you assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at you across the room, watching you getting ready to step in the shadows. They just look at you and they turn and they begin running.
Okay. I have iron will.
Yeah.
And so my question is this a mind-altering effect?
No one's messing with your mind. So iron will be like if someone's trying to use like presence or dominate or something on you.
Okay, so this is that's what I'm trying to figure out. If this
I mean, like illusions. Actually, I guess that could kind of. Well, you don't really have Auspex way to see through an illusion, but
no.
yeah, nothing like that pings for you. No.
I'm going to with the remembering the words that Phaedra said of them observing. Anyone who, because of a thing I have, anyone who's using aspects to assess me suffers migraine-like headaches and have their resolve and willpower drop by half of my resolve, rounded up for one scene. So that's just a thing for you to know.
Okay.
Just in case. Right. I think I will step into the shadow anyway, but the idea would be from the shadow, I will stalk after said person running.
Do you have like shadow step? Are you using any of your abilities here? Or are you just being stealthy?
I'd say I'm being stealthy. And if I'm going to roll for it, it's going to be with my speciality of stealth against kindred.
Okay, so if you're not actually if you're just like physically, then you're pursuing, going after.
Yeah, it's more like flavor, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Just showing how good you are at quickly stalking your prey.
Yes.
As you make your way through, they're out of this room. They make their way upstairs. They're quick, but you're quicker, barely. And you're able to do so with like alarming anyone. It would be weird if two people just went like sprinting through this place. So you're able to sort of quickly move and stay sort of on this person's trail. It's almost easy to follow them because you'll see like some people react like someone just ran by them, and that's weird. But you don't add to that weirdness. Eventually, turning a corner where a door just opened, running into Grace, who is heading the opposite direction from you. She sort of hits. Were you chasing someone?
I was. Your last hit.
I'm sorry?
Were you chasing after your last hit?
No, I was chasing my current one. And you see as a bone protrusion comes from her wrist, and you see her face shifting a little bit, a few features from the person you were just chasing, as she goes to plunge this sort of bony protrusion into you, saying,
so
you do. But yeah, she goes for that and just saying, the Sabbat has missed you. Riafine, you've gone outside.
Yes.
With Miss Volgan, who's walking with a purpose. And you see her going past the gardens. You follow to sort of almost like a zoo area where there's like a bird cage. There's different sort of cages and things like that, and a walkway through all of this. And that's the area you see her enter. Not unusual for a sort of eccentric rich person to have at their estate. You've seen these before. How do you approach?
I am not one to chase, so I will stop at that threshold where all these cages are, and I'll say, "Oh, Vera, darling, I'm not going to run around all over here."
You said you judge by the individual, yes? You believe everyone should be treated fairly based on their actions, and that's because of what they are?
Yes.
Then please help me.
What am I helping you with?
I would prefer to show you if you trust me.
Vera, you do understand that everyone's a little on edge, at least everyone who knows anything about what we are doing here.
That is why we must act quickly. I have no interest in whatever that is.
Okay. May I ask a question first?
Please make it quick.
What exactly did you do? earlier. What was that sensation?
Mm. It was a Alcavian was observing you, knowing if you were to use any of your disciplines. I simply obscured the web around you, made it impossible for him to discern what you were doing.
Can I see? Tell if she's being honest?
Give me a wits insight. You can't stop critting. 5 successes, and none of these are even messy crits. She's absolutely being earnest. There's like a desperation. She's a little bit of fear. Like she's trusting you with something big. But she whatever she said she did, that makes sense. She must have done that, which helped because that did make it easier for you to go in, and you using a power like subtle messages. He would have been able to tell if you're using a discipline on him, but he wasn't, and you were successfully able to do so. So it makes sense.
So I'm going to follow her, but I'm going to turn to Callum, and I'm going to instruct him like, darling, we know that things are a little complicated tonight. If you do not see me leave, you find them, referencing Thalia and Della. Quickly.
Don't want me to go with you.
No. I want you safe. I don't think that's with me right now.
He doesn't defy you, but you can see he wants to. The thought of not seeing you again tugs at him, but his need to obey overrides that.
I almost beckon him down to me since he's, tall. And I place my hands on each side of his face. And there's a little bit of red that starts to well up in my eyes, and a single tear just cascades down my cheek. And I give him a goodbye kiss.
He obviously returns it enthusiastically. He looks back and you see that turmoil's no longer going. He's like, I'm embarrassed. I thought for a moment that something could actually harm you. I know better than that. And he'll wipe the blood tear from you, put it in his mouth, and he'll head back in. Or you want him on standby here, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, and then he'll wait. As you then follow Vera in. As she's looking desperately back and forth, taking a weird path, likely to avoid these birds she mentioned earlier, before coming before a cage. I knew it. And you see a woman in there look up, a woman with a striking resemblance to her. It didn't make sense. I could not find this place. All the visions, all the premonitions, they were pulling me here, and I didn't know why, and they took her. It's okay now. She starts speaking in Russian, with her hands in the cage. The woman, just in rags, just looks up. You could tell very malnourished in a bad spot. Just looks up, just tears in her eyes, and you can see actual tears. Looks up and sort of goes up to sort of grab the cage with her sister, and she does so. And there's a burning as she yells back and steps back, and you can see burn marks on not Vera's hands, but her sister's hands. She screams, and that scream turns into a roar as you see spouts of fur start to come in, her claws start to come in a little bit, and you see Vera say, "No, not now."
Instantly, I'm going to start to use Eyes of the Beast.
Your eyes flash red to see this woman try to keep down transforming in this moment as she has just forgot and touched these silver bars in this cage. And what a great moment to end this episode. So, we will be back with our finale as I asked them what they wanted last time. They said magic and violence, I think, and we got it. It's coming. It's coming in hot. Yes, this has been great. I love this game. I love these people. Speaking of loving these people, let's let the people tell you who they are, where you can find them, what they're up to. Starting with Raven.
Hi, I'm Raven. I play Madame Riafine. And I can't believe we just ended like that. I'm a little fucking salty right now. But you can find me on the internet at Wreck-It Raven anywhere. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God. I'm in my emotions. Okay? I'm having feelings, and that's disgusting. And that's all you're gonna get from me.
Okay. That's
That's
Raven. That's Raven, everyone. Amazing. They do amazing stuff. They got a lot of stuff going on. Follow them on everywhere for all of that. Chastity, what's up with you?
If I could reach through the screen.
I will never play at an actual table with any of you.
But unfortunately, I'm a real life Lasombra and it doesn't work that way. Okay, so hi, I'm Chastity. You can find me all over the internet as the Masquerade. Tonight I play Thalia. This is what I do, TTRPGs. You can find me here. You can find me at Table of Horrors. And you can find me at Lanyap Gaming. I don't know when this is airing, so we might already be out with content. So go over there and check that out. Holy shit. You sicked a Samitsi on me. A Sabat Samitsi. Okay.
Someone had to stop you. Speaking of stopping someone who needs to be stopped, April Rega, what's up with you?
Hi, friends. My name is April, and tonight I played Della, the blood sorceress Tremere. I know what clan I'm in.
The outros. The outros are always on point.
What game are we playing? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to ghost bust a room full of ghosts. I don't have that power. But
You've been pretending to.
What you can do is find me on other things that I don't know when this is. Follow me online at April Raygun. Back to you, bully.
Amazing. How do I follow up those professionals? I'm Bully. If you're watching this, you know where to find me. It's Table Got Stuff. And I love this. I'm excited. I'm very excited for a finale. Otherwise, that's it for us. We're going to do some things. We're going to play again soon. I can't wait for all to see this. Thank you for dining with us. We'll see you next time for our last course. Bye.